for tuning in to another episode of the Campfire Collection. I'm your host, Megan Slensky, and today I'm joined around the fire with my good friend, Jack Maloney. Join us as we talk about the importance of youth involvement in the outdoors.
I got involved in outdoors ever since I was really young, honestly, probably like one or two. I've just been boating and fishing is two of the main things I really like to do. My dad would bring me on his boat, and yeah, that's really how it started.
Do you think it was important for your dad to have you around when you were little on the boat and things like that?
Well, yeah, because I would kind of just go out with him and just I would just get to learn what it was like to be on the water. And that's really when I learned how to drive a boat and just the basic fishing tactics, like how to tie a knot or whatnot. And then that's really when I caught my first real fish, I guess you'd call it. And it just blossomed from there.
What kind of fishing do you do?
So with my dad mainly we only do saltwater fishing. That's kind of what he was mainly into because he was actually I guess I want to say professional fisherman, but he was a commercial fisherman. That's the word. He was a commercial fisherman out of high school for about 5 years. So he really knows the Cape Cod fishery well, is where we always fish. But then I also fish freshwater. So I do the whole spectrum, I guess you call it. But freshwater, I really only fish with my brother, who is my other fishing influence, I guess you call it. My dad's really my only boating influence.
Do you think the influence your brother and your father played kind of helped you get into the outdoors a little bit? Do you think you would have gotten into it without them?
Oh, definitely. I really don't think I would have gotten into as much as I did without them. There's no way because when I was saying seventh or eighth grade, and my brother had just gotten his driver's license. That spring, him and I would go fishing every single day. And when I say every day, I mean every day. No matter the weather. There were a couple days we went when it was snowing in early March. We would go fishing when it's snowing. Yes, he's crazy. When it's downpouring, we would go fishing, and that's when I really got into freshwater fishing. We had never, because both my brother and I had been brought up saltwater fishing, but then we always really wanted to get more into freshwater fishing. And then it really clicked. And my brother just loved it. So I was the tag along. But and then that really just brought me into the whole aspect of everything else. And so really my brother and my dad had the biggest influence in my outdoors life.
It sounds like you and your brother spent a lot of time together those couple of years. Would you say you guys got a lot closer because of fishing?
Yeah, I would definitely say so because a lot of the experiences, really most of the experiences my brother and I have had something to do with fishing or boating or outdoors. It might not have been directly, but it could have been that we were doing something to get prepared for a fishing trip or bigger fishing trip. We were going scouting different places, and that's really just what gets it. And now um, we're really getting more into saltwater fishing too. We're starting to upgrade boats, and really, I personally have some big plans and goals for my saltwater fishing adventures, I guess you would call them. I have very big goals. Some people call me crazy, but hopefully I'll achieve them one day.
Why do you say that? What are your goals that are so big?
Well, fishing wise, I have one goal in particular that some people I've told it to, and they've said either you're never going to do that, it's too expensive, it's just never going to work out, you're going to get killed. Any just have come up. But some people that maybe don't know fishing as well might be like, "Oh, that's easy." But no, it's not easy. I want to catch a tuna by myself, not by myself, but I want to go on a charter boat. I don't want the professionals to reel it in for me. I want to do it myself. I want to bait the own hook. I want to figure it out. I want to spend a week out there, do it myself. it was ever since. That's really been one of my the three, I guess, bucket list fish. It's been tuna, then mahi, and recently swordfish. But I didn't know. I thought you had to go 2,000 miles or 150 miles offshore, like some people I know do. In They spend 2 weeks, a weekend, a couple days out in the middle of the ocean, 150 or 200 miles offshore. I thought you had to do that, but then when I learned when the tuna are only 10 miles offshore in the fall, then I got excited. I'm like,
Right.
okay, I
It
need a big
seemed
enough
more
boat.
doable.
Exactly. So I'm like, it's crazy, but I can do it.
I think having those experiences are very important with your brother. I mean, I can speak because I have a few siblings, and every holiday, it seems like we always fall back on telling stories whenever we have like family gatherings, and they always seem that we end up talking about the hunting trips or the fishing trips, or when we're pulling the ice hut over like Lake Erie. We used to go ice fishing all the time, or like the one time my brother dropped the fishing pole in the lake. I still didn't
Y-
let that go because that was my fishing rod and he was 5 and I was really mad at him. But those stories like stick with us. Would you say that you and your brother
Oh yeah.
kind of, yeah?
Oh yeah, for us, it's always one of the ones that's popping in my head is when my brother caught the seal instead of the bluefish. But so reeling in a seal when we didn't know if it was a shark or whatnot, that was a pretty adventurous day. So it's a story that definitely always comes. But yeah, it's really what brought our bond together, and I can tell
Yeah, and
with
that'll
your
stick with you
brother, and
guys. Yeah.
yeah, no, because that's all we're always gonna have. We know each other's we know we both like to fish and we both like to be out on the water, and so we're always going to kind of go back to that whenever we're older and we're like, let's go do something. It's going to be, let's go fish.
So on the other side of it, what do you like about the sport itself?
Fishing's I don't want to say a weird sport, but it's a weird sport because nobody really thinks of it as a sport. But it is actually a sport, and there's professional anglers, and then just like any sport where there's the professionals and then there's people that just do it as a hobby. But it's a little bit, a lot of people do it more as a hobby. People think of it more as just a hobby, but it really is a sport. And the sport I've seen personally with my own eyes grow in the last couple years, and I wish that my brother or I got into bass fishing tournaments when we were younger. And I know that could be even with you, uh, with some hunting or fishing, but I really wish we got into that because that would have. I ultimately think if my brother got into that, he wouldn't be in the career he is today. He would be. I don't want to say he would be a professional bass fisherman, but he would be in that sort of career path instead. I personally don't think he would have gone to college if he was into that, honestly. So I I'm excited to see where the sport goes, and I hope that it's more accessible because professional fishing, tournament fishing isn't as accessible nowadays because you need a whole boat, a whole rig. But I would really like for more high schools to have it more accessible.
Yeah, I totally agree. I recently took up archery, so I got a bow probably June, and I've been shooting it every day. And I always kind of think in the back of my mind, what if this was like a normal sport in school or fishing or this and that? I always play the traditional recreational sports like basketball, but
Mhm.
I always wonder how much more time would I have spent in things like this if it was traditionally pushed in school.
Yeah, because I know the high school we went to, there were what I guess you want to call the four traditional sports that you play: the basketball, the baseball, the football, and I guess you'd say the hockey. In You're starting to see the more non-traditional sports like archery. It's a sport, which I did get into a little bit when I was younger, but it never blossomed. But yeah, I think of it a lot more now with the career path I've taken, and because it kind of has to do with some tournament angler fishing, and I just really wish that was an accessible option when I was in high school, or my brother was in high school. And I really would like to see if I could find a way to make it for other high schools, or maybe even maybe there's not enough people in one high school where you have to make it for
A regional thing. Yeah, I get what
yeah,
you're
a
saying.
regional,
Yeah.
or yeah, because it's really, when you start to think about it, to do a tournament fishing isn't that crazy, because you get a boat that can fit four people, and then that's really only going to be ten to $15,000, which sounds like a crazy amount of money. But you talk about crew the sport,
Right. Yeah.
that's way more money. So it's, if you get 5, 10, 15 people interested, you can create 3 different teams that go out every weekend, a different team every other weekend, and then there you are. And it's, yeah. So if I would
It's
really like
always
to
been
figure
an
out a way.
accessible, yeah, it's always been an accessible thing, but you had to always really look for it. And I think it shouldn't be so difficult to finding these clubs or finding
Mhm,
these tournaments. They're out there, and I would love to see it become more quote unquote normal. Not that it's
mhm.
not normal. I mean, I'm on an outdoor
Like
show. It is normal, but
it's normal to go out and fish for a day, but people don't see it as normal. I guess what you're kind of saying is to go out and tournament
compete.
fish and
Yeah,
have
right.
it be a sport, which I would like to see be, I guess you could say, normal. Yeah, so I see where you're going with that.
Right, because there are t- teams out there, and there's archery, there are competitions out there for people that fish and want to do it, but it's not common.
Mhm,
You have to look the few and far between, and it would be really cool if someday that would be kind of acceptable in
mhm.
schools. That's a really good point.
Yeah, because
S-
I just think about this a lot, where if my brother went into that, it would be his career. That's what I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like I can say that about a few different people I
Mhm.
know, for sure. Speaking of career, though, you have taken a step in the boating industry, I guess I would call it.
Yeah, so I kind of recently, I guess, started a newer career. I've always been interested in boats ever since I was 1 or 2. I've been boating with my dad. And then the last year, 2, 3 or so, I guess, I've started buying and selling boats, kind of the side hobby. This summer, the boating industry kind of blew up with everything going on. Everybody wanted to get on the water. So I kind of took advantage of that, because that's who I am. And on the side, I bought and sold some boats. I think it was up to 8, between 8 and 12, if you want to count engines and whatnot. And then I found I really loved that. Found a job listing and applied, and now I work at a boat dealer. So yeah, I am a part-time sales associate there, doing some other things part-time too. So it's been a great job, but we focus more on bass boats, and that's why I really get that feeling about tournament fishing. So a lot of the people that buy our $80,000 bass boats there are tournament anglers, and they do that for a living. So I kind of see that firsthand, because I'm interacting with those anglers on a daily basis, and I can see I would really, where I want this to be more of a high school sport. And but I've really been able to enjoy my career so far, and I think that the experience when I was younger were really made it able to have this career, because I really enjoy it. And if I didn't get into boating when I was 2, I don't think I would be where I am today, and I'd have a totally different career.
Yeah, and I mean, you're just starting off. I mean, we just graduated a few years ago, so I mean, you have a full career ahead of you. But it's cool to see that your experiences in the outdoors are leading you on that path. And I feel like if more people, took interest in any types of hobbies, it would kind of push them in the right direction. I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes there's kind of a stress of find what you want to do with your life and not look at your hobbies and then find what you're good at and then go from there?
Well, because even in my application, I put a picture of when I was in driving a boat with my dad, when I was pushing his hand away from the steering wheel because I wanted to drive it. And so that almost, I kind of feel like was part that helped me get this job. But so it's really goes to show how being in the outdoors really helped me get a job, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it really
So
is the
basically what I'm
truth.
hearing is you should thank your dad. It's all
Yeah.
because of your dad.
Well, yeah.
Indirectly. No, that's awesome though. So do you have anything to say to parents that are trying to get their kids involved in the outdoors, or any kids out there that maybe have an interest in fishing or boating?
Well, I'd say not just the outdoors, but to parents, get your kids involved in as much as possible and see if they like fishing. Take them on a fishing trip. Not necessarily a crazy fishing trip. Don't take your kids tuna fishing. I wouldn't do that yet. But take them out to, if you live near the shore, do that. See if you have a friend that has a boat, do something like that. Just try and get them to really feel everything and see what they like. And if you think they like it, do it again and again. I know I'm not a parent. I probably shouldn't be giving this advice, but
Hey, you were a kid
yeah,
once.
I was a kid once. I was, but the kids and younger people kind of take what I was saying to the parents, but just try and do as much as possible. And if you don't like it, don't feel bad about saying no to it and not doing it, as long as you're going to be doing something else with that time. So just do a ton of other things. If it's fishing, if it's skiing, if it's snowboarding, if it's hiking, if it's anything. There's so many things in the outdoor spectrum that you can do that are just a blast. So I just say try, and then you'll find something.
This has been the Campfire Collection.